Good morning. Today we are going to discuss next section of chapter 9, 9.2, the Banach open mapping theorem. Now let us discuss the statement of the theorem. Listen carefully. We have given x and y are Banach spaces and let A from x to y be a bounded linear map, linear operator on y, onto y. Then A is an open map, meaning is that for every open set O contained in X, its image AO is an open subset of Y. This is called open mapping theorem. Once again, I am repeating. Let X and Y be Banach spaces and A from X to Y be a bounded linear operator onto Y. So A is an onto map and A is bounded. A is a linear operator. Then the theorem this says that A is an open map. This theorem says that if A is a bounded linear operator from X onto Y, then A is an open map. Now, what's the meaning of A is an open map? A is an open map means for every open set O subset of X, AO is an open subset of Y. AO is an open subset of Y. Okay. Now, moving to the proof. What we have to prove? We have to prove AO is an open subset of Y. Let D be an open ball around 0. Okay. Then note that D is perfectly convex. Now we will check how we get D is a perfectly convex set. So D is an open ball means D is equal to set of all X such that norm of X less than R. Okay. Let X, what is the meaning of perfectly convex? Given any bounded sequence xi in D and alpha I greater than 0 be real such that sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I equal to 1, then sigma, we have to prove sigma alpha I xi belongs to D. Okay, we have to prove this. So note that norm of xi less than r for every I, because xi is a bounded sequence in D, then xi norm of xi is less than r for every I. And sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha equal to 1. There may be cases that some alpha k equal to 1 and all other alphas are 0. So we are considering this case some alpha k equal to 1, then all other alpha is equal to 0. So sigma alpha xi must be xk, clearly that belongs to D because norm of xk is less than R. Okay, therefore sigma alpha xi must belongs to D. Now case 2, alpha I less than 1 for every I. We have sigma alpha I is equal to 1. We choose alpha I such that sigma alpha equal to 1. If some alpha I is equal to 1, then all other alpha I must be 0. So if we ask now first case we have already discussed. Now we discuss alpha is less than 1 for every I. Okay. So in that case, norm of sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I xi is less than or equal to sigma I varies from 1 to infinity norm of alpha I xi, which is equal to this one. Norm of alpha I is belongs to D, therefore positive, which is equal to sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha into norm of xi. Norm of xi is less than r, therefore we can write this as r, and this is r into sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I, and alpha I is sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha is 1, therefore r into 1 equal to r. Okay, because here you can choose that alpha I greater than or equal to 0. So norm of alpha is alpha itself. Okay, therefore, norm of sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha xi is strictly less than or equal to R. This implies this belongs to D. So, D is perfectly convex. So, for exam, you have to write only this thing. Let D be an open ball around 0. Note that D is a perfectly convex set. Okay. Now, since operator A is continuous, this implies that A of D is perfectly convex. We get D is perfectly convex as A is continuous. F of D is sorry, A of D is perfectly convex. We'll check. For this, what we have to check? We have to choose a bounded sequence yi in AD. Okay, and we have to choose alpha real such that alpha I greater than or equal to 0, sigma alpha is equal to 1, and we have to prove sigma alpha I yi is belongs to AD. We have to prove this. Okay. So YAB a sequence in AD means there exists a sequence xi in D such that AXI is equal to YI. Let alpha I be a sequence of real with alpha I greater than or equal to 0 and sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I equal to 1. Now sigma alpha I yi is equal to sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I AXI, which is equal to A into sigma I varies from 1 to infinity alpha I xi, as D is we can write like this because as A is continuous, we can write like this. Now, note that alpha xi, where are alpha is xi's are in D and D is perfectly convex. This elements belongs to D. Therefore, this elements belongs to AD. Okay, therefore, AD is perfectly convex. So you have to write only this thing. Let D be an open ball around 0 and then D is perfectly convex. As A is continuous, we get A of D is also perfectly convex. Now we are claiming that F coincides with its kernel. F coincides with its kernel. What is F? F is A of D. Okay. Now, just look. Okay. Let us set belongs to F. Okay. Then there exists a W belongs to D such that where is set? Set belongs to F means F is equal to AD. So set belongs to AD. That means there exists a W belongs to D such that AW is equal to Z. Now we will prove Z belongs to FC. Okay. Our aim is to prove Z belongs to FC. Just to recall the definition of C. What is this? K C is equal to set of all x belongs to K such that for all y belongs to x, there exists a alpha greater than 0 with lambda y plus 1 minus lambda x belongs to K for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. This is the definition of KC. We have to prove Z belongs to FC. Okay. So take any y belongs to y because this capital F is a subset of y because AD operator A is a map from x to y. So AD is belongs to AD is a subset of y. So choose any y belongs to y. As A is on to there exists a x belongs to x such that Ax equal to y because given that A is on to there exists x belongs to x such that Ax equal to y. Since W belongs to D and DC is equal to D because D is an open set. For open set, we get DC is equal to C. Already we have discussed. There exists a alpha greater than 0 such that for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha, we have lambda x plus 1 minus lambda w belongs to D. Okay, because our W is also belongs to our X. Okay, this belongs to D. Now applying A, what we get? A into lambda X plus 1 minus lambda W belongs to AD. So A lambda into AX plus 1 minus lambda into AW belongs to F for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. Therefore, lambda y plus 1 minus lambda z belongs to F for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. Thus, for every y belongs to y, there exists a alpha greater than 0 such that lambda y plus 1 minus lambda z belongs to F for all 0 less than or equal to lambda less than or equal to alpha. Okay, for every z belongs to F. Okay, so if z is arbitrary, we get z belongs to Fc. We have F is already contained in Fc. So clearly F is a subset of Fc, and we get here we get F is a subset of Fc, and we have Fc is a subset of F, because here we have what is Kc, set of all x belongs to K. So Kc is always contained in K. So here, so we have F contained in, so here we have clearly F closure is Fc is contained in F. From 1 and 2 we get F is equal to Fc. Okay, so what we get? Thus we get our claim. What is our claim? F coincides with its kernel. Okay. Now, by theorem 9.1.3, what is theorem 9.1.3? We have K interior is equal to Kc is equal to K closure C equal to K closure. So we have K, here we apply F equal to Fc like that, okay? But Fc is equal to F. Okay. So from this we get F interior is equal to F. F interior set is always open. Therefore, that is F is an open set. Okay. So now assume that O is an open set in X. Now assume that O is an open set in X. Thus we get A of D is an open set. A of D is an open set. Okay. Now what we have to prove? We have to prove if O is an open set, we have to prove image AO is open. Okay. So for this, assume that AO is an open set in X. So let Y belongs, we have to prove A of AO is an open set. Okay, what we have proved now? We have proved if D is an open ball, then unity ball. Okay, then here like this. D is a ball like norm x less than or equal to R. It's an open ball around 0. Okay, then we get A of D is open. But here we have to prove any for any open set. Okay. So let O be an open set in X, and we have to prove AO is open. So choose a Y belongs to AO, and we have to prove that there exists a neighborhood of, suppose this is our AO. And to prove AO is open, so if you take any point O, we have to find a ball which is completely contained in AO. So Y belongs to AO. AO means Y equal to AX. For some X belongs to O. As O is an open set, there exists a ball dx epsilon which is completely contained in O. Dx epsilon is a ball of radius epsilon greater than 0 and centered at x. Okay. Note that dx epsilon minus ax is actually a d0 epsilon. Okay. So AX is a interior point of A dx epsilon. AX is a interior point of AX d epsilon. Hence, Y is a interior point of AO. Okay. So here this is A dx epsilon. If you consider A dx epsilon minus AX, then that is clearly A of d0 epsilon. Okay. So here AX is an interior point of A dx epsilon, and hence Y is an interior point of AO. Therefore, A is an open set. Okay. Once again, let YW will check how we get. Okay. The W belongs to A dx epsilon minus AX. Then there exists a Z belongs to D epsilon such that W is equal to AZ minus AX, which is equal to AZ minus X. Since Z belongs to dx epsilon, norm of Z minus X is less than epsilon. So Z minus X is belongs to D0 epsilon. Therefore, A of Z minus X belongs to A D0 epsilon. Therefore, W belongs to A D0 epsilon. Therefore, W belongs to, okay, thus we get A dx epsilon minus AX is contained in A0 epsilon. Now you choose W belongs to A D0 epsilon. Then that means there exists JZ belongs to D0 epsilon such that AZ is equal to W. Now Z plus X belongs to dx epsilon. Since norm of Z plus X minus X is equal, norm of Z is less than epsilon. Therefore, you can write Z plus X belongs to, okay. So W is equal to AZ plus AX minus AX. You can add AX and minus A, subtract AX. So AZ plus X minus AX, therefore A dx epsilon minus AX. So we get A dx epsilon minus AX equal to A d0 epsilon. Therefore, A dx epsilon is equal to A d0 epsilon plus AX. Therefore, A dx epsilon is an open set since A d0 epsilon is open. Okay. Ax belongs to A dx epsilon implies Ax is an interior point of A dx epsilon. Since dx epsilon is contained in O, we have A dx epsilon is contained in AO. Therefore, Ax is an interior point of AO. So, if you take any point Y, and Y is an interior point of A, another definition for to prove open set is we have to prove every point in that set is an interior point. So here if you take Y belongs to AO and we get Y is an interior point of AO. This implies AO is open. Okay. For example, you have to write up to this all these, and there is no need to write all these things. Okay. Now moving to next corollary. Let A belongs to L of xy be on 2 and 1 to 1. Then there exists A inverse belongs to L of yx. Okay. Since we have to prove if A is a one bijective bounded linear map, then A inverse exists. That's what we have to prove. So since A is a bijective linear map from x to y, A inverse from y to x is also linear. Since A is open, we get A inverse is continuous. Since A is open, we get A inverse is continuous. Now we have one remark. Let x and y be Banach spaces A from x to y bijection. Then A is into next corollary. Let x and x be a linear space equipped with the two norms, norm 1 and norm 2. Assume that x under norm 1 and x under norm 2 are complete normed space, and that there exists a constant c such that 2 norm is less than or equal to c into 1 norm. For all x belongs to x, then these 1 norm and 2 norm are equivalent. Okay. Uh, Proof is very easy. Let us denote x under norm 1 as x and x under norm 2 as y. Define an identity operator from I from x to y. From the condition norm 2 is less than or equal to c into norm 1, we get I is continuous. By bounded inverse theorem, I inverse from y to x is also continuous. So there exists a constant c1 such that norm 1 is less than or equal to c1 into norm 2. And from this we get norm 2 is less than or equal to c into norm x under norm 1, and which is less than or equal to c1 into norm x2. Okay. So combining these two results, we get norm 1 and norm 2 are equivalent. Okay. That's all for today's class.